our full, uninterrupted coverage of the first holiday debate. Tonight's debate will be a conversation between Mr. Kringle and Mr. Smith about when in the year it is appropriate to start putting up our holiday Christmas decorations. Mr. Kringle has long said that he believes that it should go up immediately after Halloween, if not before, whereas Mr. Smith has said that he believes he's stating the opinion of the general public in saying that it should not go up until after Thanksgiving. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to start off tonight's debate by having each of you restate your opinions on a matter of holiday decorations. Mr. Kringle, you'll go first. Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is no time that is too soon with putting up Christmas decorations. Christmas is a time of joy and wonder and unity and really just finding the humanity inside all of us. And I believe that should be celebrated year-round, at the very least, through the season of fall and winter. Mr. Smith may believe otherwise, but I believe that happiness and joy is not just a season; it is a way of life. And if it is a way of life, it cannot be confined to a single season. So, if you like Christmas, if you like the things that are about Christmas, the joy and the happiness and the wonder, you should put up your Christmas decorations as soon as you possibly can. Pardon me. And you should never take them down unless you absolutely have to, despite what anybody over here says. Mr. Smith, your response? Now here's what I think. I think that if you put up your Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving is over, then I think that what you're trying to do is to, well, it's to really be terrible. You know, the people that are Mr. Kringle, please let Mr. Smith speak. You know, the people that are putting their Christmas decorations up before Thanksgiving is over, and the people that are leaving them up far too long, is really the biggest problem we have right now. Because, you know, the thing, here's what I think. It's not good if you put up your Christmas decorations before, you know, most people agree with me. You know, most people agree that if you put up your Christmas decorations before Christmas, and then that's before Thanksgiving is over, is when the Christmas season should, and ideally should, and will start. But if you put them up before that, and you leave them up too long, then you start to run into the issue that it's bad, you know? Thank you, Mr. Smith. A large facet of the debate around holiday decorations involves the idea that if you put up Christmas decorations too soon, you will be overshadowing other holidays. Mr. Smith, you've said that if people put up their Christmas decorations prior to Halloween, you believe that Halloween and even Thanksgiving may be overshadowed by Christmas because of the presence of decorations. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. I did say that.
Mr. Kringle, what do you say to this? What do I say to this? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The only reason that anybody would have that kind of fear is if, I don't even know why. The presence of wonder and joy and unity does not overshadow the feelings of gratefulness and spookiness that Halloween and Thanksgiving embody. It just adds to it. But adding decorations for a holiday does not cancel out another holiday. It simply adds to the amount of festive spirit in you. If I'm away, we would have Christmas decorations up to every single holiday. So the effects of each holiday would be compounded with the effects of the Christmas holiday to get the maximum level of holiday spirit. I don't know how anybody can possibly think that adding festive wonder and joy to your life through the use of Christmas decorations could possibly have any negative impact on the other positive attributes of other holidays. It's absolutely absurd. It's absurd. Some reports say that you are a proponent of keeping Christmas decorations up all year and never taking them down. Are you able at this time to confirm or deny that statement? Now listen, I feel like I've made my stance on decorations very clear. I don't care when you put them up. I don't care how long they're up. But I think that for anybody to try to say that you can't put them up, to try to force anybody from stopping you, to try to stop you from putting them up, it's absurd. I'm a proponent for you to be able to put them up year round. I'm not saying you necessarily should, but I'm also saying you. I'm also. Here's the thing. I'm not saying you need to or you should, but I'm also not saying that you shouldn't. I'm more saying you should have the ability to, if you so desire. It's not really my decision. It's not Mr. Smith's decision. It's the decision of the people. It's not up to me. So can I confirm it? Not really. I think it's really not up to me. Mr. Smith, how do you feel about that? Well, I think that if you put up your Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving is over, then you have drastically done a bad thing. Because I think that overall, it's such a bad thing for you to put up your Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving is over, or what we find often is that you leave them up too late. And if you do that, if you leave them up too long, or if you put them up too soon, it becomes such a bad thing, and it's not something I want to see. It's not something that I think anyone wants to see, and I think that I state the opinion of the general public when I say that it's not good. It's a bad thing to leave your decorations up for not too long, or to put them up too soon, and especially year round. It's definitely a bad thing. Thank you. Studies show that if you put up your Christmas decorations before Halloween, you may be alienating the people that show up to your house that don't have them up yet. How do you feel about that? I mean, here's the thing. It's picture this. Imagine, if you will, somebody comes into your house, right? And they know you have your Christmas decorations up in March, and they come in and they see your Christmas decorations, and we're seeing a disturbing trend nowadays where people come in other people's houses, see the decorations up, they knew were going to be there, and feel like it's the other person's fault. But the other person had no idea that the other person was going to feel that way. So what you're finding is that people are going to each other's houses less throughout the year because they feel like they might feel threatened or alienated, but it's completely absurd. It's very clear how absurd it is that you could walk into somebody else's house and feel alienated by the decorations they have up. It really isn't any of your problem. It's their problem if they want to do it. So it's not so much that I feel. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd. Correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is that it's really their problem if they feel alienated and not yours. Sure. Mr. Smith, your response? Well, here's the thing. I think if you think about it, here's the key. The key is, it's if you invite people over, and they don't have their Christmas decorations up yet, and you do, and they don't think you should yet, then you run the risk of, see, here's the key. The key is gold, and you put it in a golden lock, and then you turn the key, and it unlocks the lock, and no one knows what the lock is hiding. I don't know if it's something inside the lock, or if it's the treasure chest. Maybe it's another lock. You unlock the lock and it leads to another lock, and you have to unlock with another key. I don't know what the other key is, but here's the key. It's right here. This one actually happens to be invisible, but I think that's what makes it so powerful. So you can't always see the key, but it's always there. And that's the key. Right here. I'm sorry, can I speak for a moment? Go ahead, Mr. Kringle. Mr. Smith here is exactly the problem, which is exactly why you can't vote for someone like Mr. Smith. You cannot vote for somebody like Mr. Smith, and here's why. That's exactly why. You see their entire tactic is to try to make everything your fault, and I'm telling you, it's not. If you want to put up your Christmas decorations at the end of Halloween, feel free. If you want to put it up after Thanksgiving, feel free. If you want to put it up in the middle of March, feel free. And that's what my campaign is all about. It's all about you being able to put up your Christmas decorations whenever you want. And it's people like him, it's the terrible people like him who are trying to give the candidates here the opportunity to speak uninterrupted. Thank you. You can continue, Mr. Kringle. It's the terrible people like him who are trying to tear these holidays apart with their, it's all your problem, you shouldn't put it up if it's going to make somebody feel uncomfortable, but that's not how it works. We are able to make our own choices, and if it bothers somebody, then that's their problem, not yours. Can I say something as well? Well, unfortunately, Mr. Smith, we're out of time. We have to move on to our final topic of the evening, which is about Christmas music. Now, some people say that you're allowed to start playing it whenever you put up your Christmas decorations. Some people say it should only be after Thanksgiving, and some people say it's wherever you want. What are your thoughts on when you should start playing Christmas music? Now, listen. It's very clear to me. There is no clear distinction between Christmas music and not Christmas music. Because if you want to go by Mr. Smith's agenda and define Christmas music as anything that has wintry themes in it, is specifically about Santa Claus or the meaning of Christmas, then sure, there's a very defined category. But there's only a defined category because Mr. Smith and his following have made that category. There really is no category. There really is no distinction between Christmas music and not Christmas music. If here's the thing. It's absurd that they would even try to draw that distinction, because if you really break apart at the Christmas music, it's the exact same as every other music. If you listen to the chord structures, if you listen to the singers, if you listen to the way they're singing, if you listen to the emotions behind it, it's just like every other music. The only difference is that it's filled with that kind of joy and wonder and festive spirit that is what Christmas is all about. And so what Mr. Smith is doing here is he's trying to draw this arbitrary distinction between Christmas music and not Christmas music. Well, what he's really doing is trying to draw a very clear distinction that he's going to carry out if he gets elected, that is simply between festive spirits like wonder and joy and happiness and unity, and the opposite of that. And the opposite of that is what he stands for. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to eliminate the very spirits that make up Christmas, and try to make them fit into this box, and that box can only be opened in after Thanksgiving, but before New Year's. And it's absurd. It's very clear that there is no clear distinction. You can listen to Christmas music whenever you want, because Christmas music is going to mean something different to every other, Mr. Kringle, Mr. Smith. No, I think that if you play Christmas music at a time that isn't Christmas, then it really isn't Christmas music, and therefore it shouldn't be played. I mean, you don't hear me playing summer music in winter. It's not what you do. You only play Christmas music at Christmas. And as everybody that I talk to defines Christmas as after Thanksgiving but before New Year's, and therefore you can have your decorations up there because it's a Christmas decorations at Christmas, and Christmas music also at Christmas. So you cannot have you legally. You by the definition, you cannot do that. Thank you both. To conclude tonight's debate, you each will have 60 seconds to reiterate your stance on Christmas decorations and music, and why you think the voters should agree with you. Mr. Kringle, we'll start with you. Now listen. The truth is this: Christmas is all about the spirit of the holidays. It's happiness, it's joy, it's wonder, it's excitement, it's unity, it's being cold, it's giving presents, it's receiving presents. And most of that last one, Christmas is all about receiving gifts. And Mr. Smith here and his team are trying to limit when you can receive gifts. And that's really what it's all about. The music, the decorations, the spirit, it's really all about trying to limit when somebody can give you something. And the truth is, you get things all the time. You get things for your birthday, you get things for Christmas, you get things for Valentine's Day if you're in a relationship. You get things all the time. You get things all year round. But according to Mr. Smith, you can only get Christmas. People can only give you things in 2 months in 2 months of the year, and that is absolutely absurd. There is no reason why you should only be able to get things on 2 months of the year. What I'm fighting for, what I pledge to do if I get elected, is to make sure that you can have Christmas decorations up as long as you want, which means that you can be feeling the spirit of the season as long as you want, because the season is as long as you want it to be. And you know what that means? Very simply, if there's nothing else that you hear tonight, just remember this: if I get elected, you will be able to get gifts all year round, whenever you want. But if Mr. Smith gets elected, if you elect him, you will only be able to get gifts from people for 2 months. Now, tell me this. The answer is very clear. Would you rather get gifts all year round, or for only 60 days? I know which one I prefer. You'll have to show which one you prefer, the polls. And Mr. Smith, well, I think I'm only going to say one thing tonight. I would have said it a long time ago, because I've already said more than one thing. But if I only were to say one thing, if I'm only allowed to say one more thing, right? This is my closing statement. So I'm only allowed to say one more thing. So I should probably say something that sounds good. So I think that the idea of putting up Christmas decorations and putting out Christmas music and eating Christmas cookies, as appealing as the idea might be, is short-sighted when you consider the fact that they're not really Christmas unless they're done at Christmas. So really, you can do it whenever you want to, as long as they're not called Christmas. Because if you're doing it during Christmas, it's Christmas, and if you're not doing it within that period, then it's not Christmas. So you can do it all year, as long as you don't call it Christmas music outside of December. Thank you. This concludes tonight's debate. Stay tuned for Jack Lantern and St. Patrick in their analysis coming up next. Thank you, Mr. Kringle. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you. Thanks. For Holiday News, I'm Marc Stoufer III.